Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the ICANN Conversations. I'm Priyanka Deo from New India Junction. I'll be hosting, and today we have a super special guest. We have a very, very interesting topic as well. Let me tell you a little bit about ICANN, though. That's the India Co-Win Action Network, which is an initiative to help underprivileged communities, especially in today's time that have been hit the hardest due to COVID-19. ICANN is a really, really unique movement. It combats the pandemic through online platforms that connects those who are in need to those who can provide it. Now, our co-win warriors work from home. They do many things, activate their on-ground community networks, mobilize resource providers in order to connect the two, and also ensure that the vulnerable sections and weaker sections of society can sustain themselves, especially through times like these. Now, co-win warriors are spread across different states of India and are steadily growing day by day. And I have some really updated stats here that one of our members has given to me. So I'd like to read that out. 69,031 lives have been impacted so far in a positive way. There are close to 3,000 well over 3,700 co-win warriors across the country and over 2,000 NGO partners. So it really is a huge effort of a lot of people, a lot of organizations connecting together and doing some great work. With that being said, I would like to start our conversation for today. Now, this is actually a really, really interesting conversation because before we started this interview, we were organizing and getting this video conference together. And I just told a lot of the people who are involved over here that, and I was telling our guests that it's become so normal to do video conferencing and telephone calls right now. Nobody is, since we're so used to staying at home, it's just become a normal thing. So today's topic is really interesting. We're going to talk about challenges of changing work norms. As most of you, especially those who are working right now or even studying, to the students out there, you probably noticed and have had to adapt very quickly to a very changing situation, very drastic situation change that you may not even realize the changes that you've had to make, whether they be positive or negative. We've just all kind of had to adapt to new circumstances. So we're going to talk a little bit about the challenges involved, some easy to do tactics, techniques that can help you. With that, I'd like to introduce our guest, Mr. Dhananjay Singh. Welcome to the show. Namaste. Very happy to have you. Mr. Singh is the Director General of the National HRD Network. He's doing some fabulous work. He's an expert on this topic. So before we get into the question and answers, sir, Mr. Singh, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and also about the National HRD Network?
Thank you so much, Priyanka. And let me say that this organization is doing a great service in these very tough times. And it is not easy the way you all are serving 69,000 beneficiaries, 3,700 warriors, and more than 2,000 NGO partners. This itself speaks about the kind of energy you all have put in to ensure that we reach out to people who really need our help. So my compliments to the organization for taking this very, very important initiative. Now, I am a part of this community, and National HRD Network is the largest association of HR professionals in India. And all of them, they work on a voluntary basis. They give in addition to their regular job, they give their voluntary time to build the human resources capabilities, which are in the common sphere. So whether it is creating a common assessment framework or supporting each other with the HR needs, or coming out with publications like NHRDN Journal, newsletter, a lot of research publications. In fact, as we speak, we already have our research is underway on the impact of COVID, how it's going to impact people and the larger organizations. And the same connection goes to the organizations and society also.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction. Now, you had mentioned one thing in your description that, and I had also probably said it, just playing along the same lines, that, when I was talking to you, sir, before the interview, we had a phone call. And the main topic is changing sort of challenges in a changing workplace. Very interesting. Last week, Prime Minister Modi actually wrote a letter on LinkedIn and shared his thoughts. Now, LinkedIn is a site, for those of you, most of you are very familiar with it probably, but LinkedIn is a site that's catered especially towards youth and young working professionals, working professionals. It's a way to connect them. It's a huge platform. He shared his thoughts on LinkedIn, and he basically, the main crux of what he was trying to say is that the workplace is slowly becoming digital. And that's so true. We've now noticed it because all of us have had to stay at home during this lockdown, and everything that we're doing, especially working professionals and students. I talk to my nieces all the time, and they're doing all of their work online through online platforms, even through WhatsApp. They're just using whatever it takes to connect, and somehow life is moving on. So can you talk a little bit about the landscape of how the types of changes that people have had to face in different scenarios? I am only sort of speaking to one crowd. I am a YouTuber, so in that sense, all my work is online anyway. So it's been fairly easy for me to adapt to the change. But what about those where it's not been so easy? So can you talk a little bit about the challenges that people have faced during this lockdown, having to stay at home and having to continue 8 hours, at least 8 hours of work every single day?
Sure, Priyanka. So, if we talk about this, first of all, I would like to say that everyone is facing a challenge. It's not about any specific strata of society. So, one thing which COVID has certainly done that everyone is on the same plane. So everyone believes that there is something which is invisible but still so powerful that everyone across the globe they are fighting against something which they even don't know, they even can't see. So in this scenario, if you see, the obvious reaction was it is not something which is like a physical war going on, where you know that what kind of arms, ammunitions which are available to two nations or two groups, and then you can plan your strategy how to take care of it. But here it is something the whole humanity is together, standing together. The humanity understands that okay, there is something which is so impactful that even if we talk about our country, things like Indian Railways, which never stopped in World War One, World War Two, we have to put it on complete halt.
Correct.
And that speaks about the kind of impact we are seeing in the physical life around us.
Right.
Now, for each one of us, when this lockdown was announced, and it is credit to the very visionary and brave leadership of our nation, and all the states together, they unanimously they decided that okay, the only way to save this country is to go for people, save people, and even if it has some impact on economy or even a large impact of economy, we will choose people first. We'll choose our citizens first. That's a big policy change at the macro level which India has taken. Now, at a very personal level or a group level, if you will see, all of us had a very limited meaning of home. So those who are working, particularly who go in the morning, they go out of the office, or in the evening, they go out of the office, depending on which shift they work for. For them, home had a very limited meaning, very significant, but very limited meaning. So, okay, it is a place where you feel very secure. It is a place where you feel that, okay, I will get what I want, and this is a place where I can be what I am. Now, that scenario from where, but work was a very different thing. So there was something which was 100% different than home. Now, with a stroke of decision, with this onslaught of COVID, now home and work both have come together.
Right.
The moment it happens, so first of all, each one of us will feel that, okay, what has happened to our life? Something has changed in our life.
Yes.
So many of us, if we put our hands on heart, many of us were not exactly what we were in office, same we were not at home. and we were not exactly what we were home at same in office.
Correct.
So there was a visible
there were some
and
alter
invisible.
egos in play over there.
Yes, yes. So all of a sudden now family members exactly know how you work in office, and office exactly know how you are perceived and how do you work at home.
Yes.
So that is the first invisible challenge which any human being will go through in their own mind. And
Right.
that office can be anything. It could be a farmland, it could be the place where a mason goes and works. There also they have a lot of visibility into each other's life, but particularly who work in very sophisticated organizations, there these were two different, almost watertight compartments.
Right.
So there the dissonance or the alignment begins. And when that happens, then the obvious question which comes to people is there will be some opportunity that, okay, you are working and still you are at home. It has its own benefit. At the same point in time, those who were not the early players in technology world, for them it was like something has stopped for a while. Now
Right.
what next?
Right.
No one knows that how things will shape up.
Correct.
So with those uncertainties, which all of us started, and here I leave my opening remarks. Over to you again, please.
Great. So can we talk a little bit about now that's actually very, and even I was thinking about it as you were describing it, that there are certainly, different, I don't know if the proper word for it is alter ego, but it really is, because when we do go into the workplace, those 8 hours, the priority is not the home. It is not, what you're going to eat for dinner, not what you're going to do. The priority is dealing with the people who are in your workplace, getting your work done, finishing for the day, and then going home. But now at home, as you said, it's an amalgamation of everything put together. You're thinking about I have to go and make lunch myself. So what am I going to do for that? What am I going to do for breakfast? How am I going to sort of get all my work in? And especially those that are living together, families that are living together, it's sort of everyone's schedule is in one place, so to say. So a lot of changes and a lot of adaptations. Can we talk a little bit? Somebody the other day was mentioning, I was having a conversation with a mother. She has 2 children and a husband, but they do live with their parents as well. So all of them are home, and because the parents are senior citizens, they have to be extra careful in terms of in this COVID situation as well during the lockdown. So parents are constantly at home. She was actually telling me that Priyanka, it's actually a break for me to go to work. As stressful as work gets, even if I spend 10 to 12 hours over there, at least I can focus on myself. I can eat at my own pace. I can do my work at my own pace. Here, I have to kind of fit my schedule into my family because they are at home. So coming to entertaining the kids, making sure their schoolwork gets done, making sure parents are okay, making sure husband is okay, making sure the entire family is doing okay and is floating. It's quite a tolling task, I think, for her. She's finding it very challenging, and I'm sure she's not the only one. Are there any tactics or any techniques that people who are kind of undergoing this, because it's not just females, I can even extend it to say males, but if you do have to, or if you are in a situation where it's a family situation, you have to take care of your children and your family, are there any techniques that you can recommend to make things easier, at least psychologically? Because I think she's about to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, so Priyanka, that must be a story of many of us who are there and living these two lives, and now everything has merged into one. So, first of all, I would like to say that we all are struggling with this. So, there are no perfect answers. So, let us be honest to our own selves.
Right.
However, having said this, certainly people who have accepted this as a fact of life, and then they have divided those 24 hours available to them, they will be certainly in a better position to respond than those who are still to accept this as a reality in life.
Okay.
So, if I have 24 hours available to me, it is my choice. I can keep grumbling for say 3 hours, 4 hours, Or I can put my all energies into my head in thinking process that how, when this will go away and when I'll come out of it, and it is so much of work. So I think I'm creating more difficulty for myself. I'm sure maybe a percentage will difference, but certainly each one of us are facing those kind of dilemmas. However, it is for sure that if we accept this as a new normal or the new norm, that okay, this is how it is. Support staff is not available to you. Joint families will have everyone with them. Nuclear family will have to help each other.
Right.
So there is no way out. That's number one. So first, the acceptance has to come at the mental level. It may come with very hard experiences in life as we live and we feel very demoralized, or we take a deep breath and we say that, okay, this is what it is, and let's make the best out of it. Is it not that we were looking forward to some days when all of us could be together at home? Is it not that when we were dreaming to be at home and do many things which we have never done? Is it not that we wanted to be away from office and then interact with each other rather than just sitting 2 feet, 3 feet next to each other, and then uh, day in and out, same things going on and on and on in mind? Is it not that we are saving our 1 hour, 2 hours of minimum traveling time every day? Maybe in larger cities, 3 to 4 hours. Have we not added 3 to 4 hours in our life?
Yeah.
So those are the same realities, as real as this reality that I have to help and I have to do and I must do what I should do if I'm at home. The third point I would like to share here is that we have to understand now, at least with the second extension of the lockdown, that things are not going to be easy till the time we have vaccination for it, till the time there is certainty that okay, we can save ourselves by doing XYZ in a specific way. We have to accept it as a new normal.
Okay.
We have to accept it. And the more we accept it, the more we will be in a position to help our communities, more we will be in a position to help our own colleagues, will be in a position to help our own family members and people around us.
Yeah.
So
To follow up with
acceptance will be the, yeah, please, Priyanka.
yeah, I mean, it's what you've said is absolutely right in terms of, you do have to, it's all in the mind, right? If you get frustrated, it's not going to help you out because you have to deal with the situation no matter what. What I have found, I work with my team quite often, and what I have found is, they do get, it's a different set of circumstances, especially if you're in a managerial position or in a leadership position where you are still leading a team, but now you're kind of leading them remotely and kind of allocating tasks in the same way and perhaps at the same pace. A lot of people are in this position. A lot of working professionals are also in this position. Are there any ways or techniques? Because what I'm finding personally is that people are not sleeping at the same times. Their sleep cycles are very different from each other. The pace at which they're working at home suddenly changes. A lot more coordination needs to happen, not just between me and, let's say, my video editor, but me as well. So instead, before one call, now I'm having to make 4 different calls for the same thing to get done. So is there, it is challenging. People are working at different paces, especially to the people in managerial or leadership positions. What recommendations do you have? Because it is tolling on them as well. I think in that time, instead of spending 8 hours a day, a lot of people are working 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day very easily, even during the lockdown situation, which is, I would say, a little unhealthy. It's very tolling on your mind. Yes, you are occupied during the day, but then there's no room for you to do any physical activity. By the time you're done, it's already dark outside. Now that is may not be a big deal, if you're in the workplace because you see the sun in the morning. But here, if you're just stuck at home all day, you may not even see the outside for the day, and then you have to sleep at night and do it all over the next day again.
Thanks, Priyanka. So just 3 points, very specific points I will share. Self-discipline will help a lot. Yeah. So here we have to be our own timekeeper. Now, there is some me time which we can get, and that will only come out of, and this is what works for me. I'm not sure, because everyone is a unique individual human being and they have their own way to how they cope up with life and how they decide. So I can share about my personal thought in it. If we get early, and if we were getting, say, at 6 o'clock or 5:30, if we get, say, another 10-15 minutes, we get up early. I don't think there is any reason why we'll not get time for ourselves or exercise. We all are now confined to 250 square feet, 300 square feet, 800 square feet, 1500, 2000 square feet or more homes. You cannot go outside if you are in a containment area or a red zone kind of area. Yeah. So what will help us? Again, the same question. What will help us? Nobody from outside, no gym trainer will come and help us out. We'll have to help our own selves. So maybe getting up early, or even if we are going late to bed, that's also okay. We can have our own way of, if we love physical exercise, we should do that. If we love yoga, meditation, we should do that. Rather, self-discipline will help us to become much efficient and effective in these times. Second is, in offices, when we were there was physical proximity. Still, there was work which was happening in virtual team. It is not that it was not working. However, when we are in fully virtual teams, the empathy has to go up. So if I'm working with a set of designers, I'm working with a set of volunteers, I need to understand that their original high-end equipments are not available to them. So we have to be very empathetic about it, that, okay, how can I proactively give work to them so that the work which was done on a very high-end Mac machine in, say, half an hour, which will on a desktop at home with family and all the work around, may take 3 to 4 hours, that has to come from our side. Even at managerial levels, we should not feel that, okay, someone was working in this task in 15 minutes, let them work in 15 minutes right now, or 20 minutes. There, the role of, as a senior responsible person, it is our responsibility to see the other side also, and proactively give them jobs which were taking, knowing fully well that maybe somebody's internet may not work, power supply may not always be available, they may have 10 things to do at home also. So we have to be, this is the time to be very, very, have empathy. That's another thing which will help people. Third is about, this is the time to develop your own and test your own interpersonal skills. So earlier you were sitting somewhere, you could tell someone that, okay, if now the person doesn't want to do, he will say, boss, there was power cut was there, I could 3 hours it was not there. What will you do now? My machine is not working. It is rebooting. What can you do now? So this is the time to build those teams. And if you had a good team with you, then this is the time when they can give extra to you. And I have seen in last more than a month now that people have gone out of phase, and they have done a lot of work which they used to do in the past, much, much more than it. So more than one, another point I would like to share, Priyanka, is people will more work on clear-cut communications, clear-cut timelines, lot of empowerment and trust, and above all, you'll have to give them what is the failure mode and what is the success mode for them.
Right.
So you can share with them that, okay, if A, B, C will happen, and while you're working during the day, then you should know that you are going towards the success mode. Right. If A, B, C kind of behavior or output is coming, then know for yourself that we are moving towards the failure mode.
Right.
So these are 4 or 5 points which I can share with you.
There's one very interesting thing that you mentioned, which was having empathy. I'd like to ask you a follow-up question to that, Mr. Singh, which is how do we face, I know some of us are facing this. Let's turn it around. Now, let's say you are part of a team. You're not the leader or the manager, but you're part of a team. You're working with a lot of people who have their own schedules, as you said. They're working at their own pace. How do you deal with negative people in the workplace, even if it is remote? Because as it is, the situation is tolling on your mind during your lockdown in your home with your family. Now, how do you deal with negative people or people perhaps struggling through this lockdown? They're getting very frustrated. They're getting, it's showing in their work and in their interaction, in their interpersonal skills, as you said. How do you deal with this?
Thanks, Priyanka. So I would say I'm quite lucky that most of them are not like this. But when you work with the open environment, with customers, with a lot of people, then it will be unfair to say that we don't have any, not even a single person in our life like that. We have many of them, and it is accepted. Now, there is no easy solution to it. You will have to check out plan, or it depends on person to person. To some of them, you'll have to, they will be very adamant about their stand, but still they will be very rational. So then you have to take the discussion to the rationality of it. And you'll have to, with the point of view that it is not that you don't agree with what they are saying. Because if there is someone is a rational person, the rational person understands the rationality part of it. However, you may not agree. Both of you may be on different planes as far as the what process to take to reach that outcome. That will happen. Yeah. So in that case, you can confront and talk that, okay, I'm okay with your intent. I'm okay with your outcome, but I'm not okay with the process which you are suggesting. And let us talk about it, because you have a different lens to it and I have a different lens to it. However, there will be another category which will be adamant as well as they will not be rational also. In that case, you may not do much about it. So somewhere you will have to put a stop to that conversation, and then you will have to use tact. Because we all are social animals and we cannot do everything on our own. So if we think that, okay, my thinking power, my emotional intelligence, my understanding of people, my logic will take care of things, it will not, particularly in interpersonal things. Then you will have to be tactful, take help from other colleagues who are there in the ecosystem, share with them. Maybe you yourself, once you talk to them, you may realize that, okay, you are only taking a wrong stand and you have the opportunity of the right stand. Or they may say, no, the stand which you have taken is correct stand, and we will help you to propagate that stand. So in that case, your individual ability of rationality and emotional stability may not work so much. Once you will join hands and brains with others in the same ecosystem, then that will work as a mirror for you, that whether you need to mend something or the other person, it may be a customer, it may be any of a stakeholder, they need to understand that times have changed and we need to align with the realities of this life.
Yeah, that's a really important point. Now let's switch it over to the students, because a lot of our students, I myself have 3 nieces. They're back in Mumbai, and they are getting extremely frustrated, I would say, because all of them are involved in, as most students are over here, extracurricular activities beyond school, which have now been cancelled. And there is so much schoolwork during a semester or during a course. They are saying they're getting very overwhelmed because they are so used to being on the move, I guess you can say. And for a young mind or for a developing mind, a person, I would say a minor who is in an elementary school and even a high school student, they are so used to just being out of the house, whether it's for a tuition or whether it's for swimming or whether it's for dancing or whether it's for playing music or whatever their activities may be. Their day is, I would say, fuller than most working professionals. So it is a very frustrating thing for them to be in this lockdown, having the same amount of curriculum work, but at the same time not being able to let out their frustration in a very healthy way. And they are not mature enough, I would say, to be able to deal with the situation with tact. They don't have that maturity, especially younger students. So, what tips would you give to them? Or
Um,
perhaps instead of giving it to them, what tips? Because I talk to their mothers also, and mothers are getting way more frustrated dealing with them. So perhaps what tips would you give to working professionals who are parents and have to deal with their children being at home 24/7 as well?
yeah. So first of all, is it not true that they're really missing on many things? That's a fact. They are.
That's true.
Yeah, and at the same point in time, uh, everyone is missing something. Everyone
Yeah.
is missing. Is it not that we are not missing meeting our own friends? We are also missing. Maybe we also miss even meeting the people who gives us regular supplies of milk and the person who gives us vegetables. So even we miss, okay, how they are, if they don't have numbers, how to contact them, hope they are okay. So, and obviously they, in our comparison, where our mindset are very rigid, they are very flexible. They are a lot more energetic than what we are.
Yeah.
And I also believe that their understanding of whether through online games or the kind of work which is shaping in a particular strata, their understanding of technology and this world is much better than us. However, their feeling of isolation is obviously one of the reasons is because of our past life. The way we have lived, the way we have lived before lockdown, we understand that there is a mall where we need to go. There is XYZ place where we need to go. And if I compare it with today's life, I'm missing on it. So that mindset will keep working. It is working. However, we need to understand that they are running towards a door which is already locked. And if the door is locked, how much you can hit at it? It is locked.
Right.
And each of the youngster, including all of us, we have gone through in the first few days. And then we have realized that, okay, there is no way out. Rather, I can learn some coding, I can learn some new languages, and I can do something constructive about it. If nothing else, at least I can sleep at home. I can create something at home. So these are the a few of the things which may not help. I will not say may will always help only. Let us be very authentic about it. It may not help also.
Right.
However, there is so much, so we can share the other side of the hall, which has a huge bright sunlight available to them. So don't stop them then and there only. If they are hitting their head to the wall and to that door which is locked, let them do it for some time. If you will go and say that what you are doing, why you are not understanding, they'll not understand.
Right.
Be a part of their frustration. Share that how frustrated you are also at times, because there is so much for you to do.
Right.
Now, at the same point in time, now the time and energy is available where we can go and do something. How many days we can sulk? Tell me. 1 day, 2 day, 1 week, 2 weeks. So some time will come when people will understand that, okay, now I should see some different avenue where I need to channelize my energy.
Right.
And then take them with you. So first you have to be part of their frustration, be with them and say that, oh, I understand and I am with you. And then with them, you please come out of that frustration and say that, okay, let's do something together. Let's see the other side of life. Let paint the life, because this time will not come back. This
Yeah.
time will not come back when again we are going to be together with our kids and elders.
Yeah.
Rather than just sitting and watching television, we can also use it, that television, as one of the part. and something that which we will cherish. Maybe 10 years after, or 5 years after, or 15 years after, they will have their own complete different life. So we have to give them visualization that won't you remember that, okay, there was a time in hundreds of years when COVID was there and we were together and we were just feeling frustrated about it.
Yeah,
Rather than doing something good and unique.
correct.
So this may not work, but still, this is a reality of life, and for some, this may certainly work.
Do you foresee now in terms of education? This was actually part of that LinkedIn message that the PM wrote. A lot of focus on education and online and e-learning, which has salvaged, I would say, the COVID situation in terms of education because it's allowed education to continue. A lot of schools, especially government schools, especially at the local and the district and the village levels and in rural areas, a lot of schools have been converted into isolation wards. There's no way that people can go to school, but because of e-learning platforms, education has remained possible. So yes, it is optimal during this time, but would you recommend perhaps, I know that e-learning and online platforms are also used for working professionals, and I have had the working overseas as well as in India, and I would say that there's more this is a pre-COVID situation, but there was definitely a lot of focus on using e-portals, e-learning versus traditional classroom learning, even in the workplace. This is not the case in India by and large. A lot of focus is still on the traditional methods of learning, where technology is not being used at its best or as much as it can be, or as much as we are using it right now. Is this a lesson, maybe perhaps COVID, in terms of platforms for learning, platforms for training, platforms for apprenticeships? Should we develop them further? Is this the time to get ahead in terms of education? Do you recommend online learning? Is that the new way to go? Whether you're a working professional or a student?
Thanks. Very good question, Priyanka. I have a very simple take on it. And let's go to our core. Yeah. COVID is a big event in our lives, and it has fast tracked many things for us. My understanding of scenario word was it was going towards online. It was anyways going towards online. It would not have happened at this pace. It would have happened in 8 years, 10 years from now, but things would have happened like it. Work from home, which our HR community was very much pushing, and most of the multinational organizations and people like you who have worked across the globe, they understand that it was a reality for many. Yeah. Now what COVID has done, that when HR fraternity was pushing that, okay, work from home will give work-life balance, will give XYZ, then there were people who were accepting it and there were who were not accepting it. But in one stroke, now there is no other option. Either you say that, okay, no problems, you be at home and it's fine, or you say that, okay, no, please work from home and let's do something productive. So we have to understand that this transition of physical to virtual was already was there in our society. This event has fast tracked it multifold times. That's first reality. Second reality is, I 100% agree with you. It is going to be a world which is going to be a lot of online, 100%, not only in field of education. And we must thank all the policies and people involved in this sector that they had the requisite technologies in place, which has really helped us as far as the education is concerned. Going forward, this will institutionalize, number one.
What is the time frame of that? Sorry to interrupt you, but when
please.
you say institutionalize, I'm curious to know, I'm sure a lot of our audience members are curious to know, what is the time frame on that?
I think it is today.
Needed
it is today.
Okay.
We need not to go far off. It is even today. So work from home has been institutionalized right now.
Okay.
And going forward, this may be the new normal. Even if government will open, how many people will have their own transportation?
Correct.
If I can't use public transport, or even if I can use public transport, if I have to give a 6 feet of space between two individuals, how many people will travel? Tell me.
Exactly.
When people, let's not assume that every organization has their own building and offices. Every organization has the working capital and the capex and the money available that they can have guards, sanitizers, and then they can have separators become between two workstation. It will not happen. It's a dream. Let us be real. Let us be a realistic professional, and let us see it in the realist terms that it's not going to happen just now. Organizations are already, they don't have money to pay salaries. They're
Right.
struggling with working capital.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few organizations, very numbered organizations who have deep pockets, who can really afford all this. So it
Correct.
is so social distancing is going to be the new norm. Here again, Priyanka, I would like to say that one thing which this COVID has done, that every individual and every organization is now responsible, and they have to wear a tag which will say that I am not risk to social society around me. So they have to say that I am not a risk to public health.
Right.
And if that is the truth, not many organizations will have funds to do that in a physical space. Only way they can do it is by allowing work from home or by creating social distances.
Right.
That this may be a very strong point of view, Priyanka, but that is the reality of our life.
I mean, it is true. There are multiple studies that are conducted where it already, I would say, I wouldn't say that we are 100% institutionalized on the work from home front, because as you said, there are a lot of institutions in India where it's not possible. But
Correct.
in the lives. A lot of studies actually recommend, which has not been institutionalized yet there by every single firm, but a lot of studies actually recommend, and a lot of companies have also implemented a once a week work from home, where you can choose a day that you're working from home. Because they say that number one, it boosts your mood in terms of mental health, physical health, it boosts it, as well as makes an employee more productive. Is this something that India should employ even post COVID?
Yes, we must.
And why do you say that?
Yeah, because see, we don't have medical facilities like America or France or Italy. Yeah.
Right.
If we don't have that, let us accept that most of the people, majority of the people, they will use public transport to travel.
Correct.
Majority of us will not have a one entry point in our offices. Many of the offices will be in malls, where who is entering the premise, you can't check.
Right.
And builders will have no funds in today's market scenario, where they can have one entry point to check everyone whether they have fever or not, lifts are sanitized. Rather, this will go on and on. So work from home is required. If we have taken such a big call to pick people against the economy in this context, maybe as we go forward, everything will align in one plane. But as of now, I'm talking about. So it is important to go with people first strategy for sure. And if particularly for those industries and work where our task can be accomplished online, we should not put at risk people's life. Yes.
So how do we, I think, follow-up question to that, how do we ensure, how do institutions ensure, how do individuals ensure, the government, however you want to take this question, however you best see fit, I'll let you take your call on that. But how do we as a society ensure a successful change into this institutionalization, especially post-COVID? One medical viewpoint, he said that even after the lockdown ends, it's not like life is going to go to normal. The economy has to recover. That's going to take some time. It's not just going to be life as it was, a couple of months ago. There are still going to be some restrictions in place, as you just mentioned. So life in itself post-COVID is not going to be normal. at all. It is still going to have some changes. What is the best way going forward that society can ensure, especially a society as big and as diverse as India, even in terms of workplaces and workspaces and strata and social strata? How do we ensure a successful change? That's a loaded question, so I'll let you take it the way that you want to take it.
No, it's okay, Priyanka. It's a very clear-cut, straightforward question. And Priyanka, the reality of life is it's not, it is unfair to say that it will not be normal. It will be a new normal. It will be a new normal.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So if we compare that, okay, when people were as a transport, they were using a bicycle, then it was abnormal. It was not. For them, it was normal. When we were youngsters, for us, bicycles were not normal. So it's going to be a new normal. Clear, simple. Now, coming to the next part, we have no other way out except to do graded openings.
Okay.
Things which are urgent, which are important, and things where we can take care of, even at a cost of whatever, they will be opened first. Even despite all this, our doctors, our police forces, our army men, our lot of people who are there, bankers, they're still working. No? Only social distancing has increased.
Right.
So, first of all, we should support the world. We should support the government. We should support the society. And we should not become someone who should say that, okay, I have lost something. If you have lost, boss. There is no other way out. Accept it. Because that's the new normal which is going to be there. More we will tread that path, more we will, as leaders, create more acceptability to our realities. This will be a much happier and productive society. Less counseling you have to do to people that, okay, accept it as a new normal. They will have to ultimately accept it. So my only submission will be that it is better to don't go for long-term plans that, okay, in 10 years I'll do this. You don't know what will happen in 10 months. You don't know what will happen in
10
1
days.
month. 10 days, in fact. So it is better to be very realist and say that, okay, let this day pass. We can think about another 1 week or so, 10 days or so. Maybe I'm talking about the implementation level as I'm talking about.
Correct.
Maybe at best we can think of 1 quarter from now. Even at a strategy level I'm talking about. Okay. But let us flow with this time, because even countries with the best medical facilities, they have, a world is seeing day in, day out that it is a very different world, Priyanka, and we can't do much about it except making a difference to our own area of influence.
Right.
So more we focus on our area of influence, we will be more productive, we will be more happier, we'll be more motivated. And if we are all these three, then we are less burdened to others also, including family members.
Now let's talk a little bit about, this is also really important want to leave out. As the DG of the National HRD network, there are sectors of society that are really going to take a hit. Sectors of the economy that are really going to take a hit, that have already taken a hit, for example, tourism. For the professionals that are working in these sectors, what is your piece of advice? Because they are not just facing job loss, but I mean, it impacts the rest of their career, even post-COVID. What advice would you have to give them? Or what, anything, if you could have any words of guidance, or what should they do? How should they be thinking? Because as you said, it's very difficult to, at the individual level, not at the institution level, at the individual level, we don't even know what's going to happen 10 days from now, 10 hours from now.
Yeah, Priyanka, so before I come to answer of this, I'll have some deeper thoughts into it.
Sure,
let's level down. So when all this is happening, one core thing is happening is that the competencies are going to change. And as I shared in the beginning, that we are already doing a primary research on this. And once the research findings are out, we will be in a more scientific position to say what I'm saying right now. So as of now, whatever interactions we have with various people in our community, I'm just talking about it, that our ability to communicate and communicate clearly will hold a lot of importance. Does not matter which industry we belong to or which way walk of life we belong to.
Right.
Second, our time management has to be the best. Our self-discipline has to be many notches up, which will help, does not matter which profession we are working for. Our usage of technology, different technological tools, we have to unlearn whatever we were doing and we have to relearn whatever new technologies are coming our way. So these are the some deeper changes which people have to bring in their mindset. And these are unseen changes.
Okay.
More than even ever in past, we will have to accept uncertainties. Future was always uncertain. We have to be more authentic. If we don't know the answer, we'll have to say, I don't know the answer. Rather than cook for it, because people are so much in stress, they will clearly know what you are saying is not correct. They'll clearly know. So you can't go back and say that, okay, I wanted to give you a raise, but I am not able to do it. And because of this COVID and this economic scenario, and then there is a industry, oh, come on, come straight and say that, boss, there is no salary raise now. Sorry. Or we have n number of people, now only n number of people will be on jobs. People will appreciate it more than our stories and songs.
Okay.
It is better to be upfront. However, having said that, as National HRD Network, our national president, Dr. Krish Shankar, has already written a detailed letter to Honorable Minister Labour and Employment about what exactly needs to be done.
Okay.
And what are going to be the impact about it. So we don't have so much of time to discuss it now. So we have already detailed yesterday in the conversation with Rajiv ji from Niti Aayog. Again, we have emphasized that what all needs to be done, which will really help to in better change management process.
Okay.
And all this, Priyanka, I must say with a sense of responsibility that these are the time when together we are co-creating all this. We don't know if it is sustainable. We don't know whether it will work or not. But we believe that the kind of information which is available, the kind of context we are in, this is the right way to move on. Whatever experiences will come, if we need to mend our ways, we must be ready to do that.
Great. Thank you for that. We have a few minutes left. So I do want to ask you for your last thoughts. When we're talking about a changing, I'll just leave it at an open-ended question. You can take it the way that you like. But we're talking about, I think this entire discussion has been about, more than changing your mindset, having to adjust to new sort of circumstances that are not just going to go away for, within a matter of days or weeks. As you said, it's going to be a new normal. Very, very stressful to kind of accept this fact. And, you can say go with the flow, which is the best way to go about it because you don't know what the future is. But what are ways over young working professionals perhaps contribute to this discourse or kind of help in terms of not coping mechanisms, but beyond the self-discipline and the keeping your schedule, and how can they make society or those students who are not really aware or as good at self-discipline as perhaps some of our people with experience are, how can this go forward in the best way, and what can citizens do to contribute to the effort?
Thanks, Priyanka. So as I see this scenario, Priyanka, first of all, let us see from the lens of reality. In 1947, 12% people in India were educated.
Right.
Whenever this census will happen, we must have crossed at least 80%. At least. Right. Even in 2011, we were 74% plus. Now, right. when this country was full of illiterate people, Can somebody believe that in 72 years, 73 years, today is a time when our citizens are leading the largest multinational companies in technology. We are one of the most competitive ones in space sciences. We are exporting a drug to 55 nations of the world. We are educated people. We live in a country which is a democratic country. We live in a nation which is an independent nation now. We live in a society which cares for each other. And these COVID times are a perfect example of it. What makes us one storm? Why it should affect our life so much? What will happen? My salary will go down by 10, 15, 20%. I may not have something. Can I start a tuition and I can start earning something? Can I start something? Can 4 or 5 of us can come together and start a new venture of like-minded people? So first of all, we have to have faith and trust in our own selves. And I can tell you, whatever discussions I had with our fraternity, everyone believes that we must do whatever is possible to do and take care of our people. We must.
Right.
Having said that, our self-confidence cannot be imported. That we will have to live on our own. So unless I have confidence in my capabilities, I have confidence in if I have so much of confidence in unseen COVID, have some confidence in God also, not that God is also unseen, that there is some higher power who will also help you. Your family will not let you down. Your friends will not let you down. So again, I will come to the same point that none of the youngsters, they are much sharper and better than many notches better than us. I don't see any reason why our youngsters will not do better than what they're doing now. Maybe it will be a jolt for some time, maybe for a quarter or 2 or 18 months or 20. No, none of us know about it. However, let us accept that if we have a lifespan of 80 years or 70 years, there were 2-3 years which were full of struggle.
Correct.
So let's live with hope, not fear, not with a kind of feeling that, okay, the world is going to end. Rather, I believe this is the perfect opportunity to live with the minimalistic lifestyle, to do more with less, and we are living it. Each one of us is an example of it. So let's build that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to thank you for that thought, because it's such a positive thought. It's important that everyone consciously have that thought. It may not happen automatically. It's very easy to get into a negative mindset, but it's really important to live with hope, as you said, because that is one of the most important things and most important ways that you can help yourself as well as help others through this process. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Dhananjay Singh, for being a part of the ICANN conversations. Thank you so much for your insights. Really interesting. This was a super important topic because a lot of people are struggling to adjust, even days within, and we're in the second half of the lockdown right now. A lot of people are having trouble adjusting. And as you said, it's all in the mind, it's all in your mindset as well. So thank you so much for being a part of these conversations.
Thank you indeed. Thanks for the opportunity, and together India will co-win. We will all win together. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. That was Mr. Dhananjay Singh, who is the Director General of the National HRD Network. That being said, I'm Priyanka Deo from New India Junction. Thanks for being a part of the ICANN conversations, and we're signing off. We'll see you next time. Turn the fan off, yeah. There was ambient noise.
मुश्किल है अनपढ़ी ये कैसी कठिन घड़ी सहमी जिंदगी बिखरी हुई मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली. I can, you can, we can, India can. I can, you can, we can, India can. हम सब मिल जाए तो, मिलकर हाथ बटाए तो, टल जाएगी ये घड़ी, झूमेगी फिर से खुशी. आशा टूटे नहीं, हौसला रूठे नहीं, साथ ये छूटे नहीं, मंजिल दूर नहीं. मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली.